Hello, this is Sharon Pierce. It is 5:36 p.m. in California on May 12, 2024, and this is NDE Near Desert Experience. So today I just feel that I want to catch up on some water areas out in the desert regions that I've been talking about. A little bit about Hansen Dam, which sits at the outside edge of Congressional District 29, which basically covers a good part of the San Fernando Valley. I said in the past that I may have said that District 27 covered all of this area. 27 comes down. It comes down south of Santa Clarita to a certain extent, and some of the mountains there, the north end of San Fernando Valley. But Congressional District 29 covers a lot of this area. Not Burbank or Glendale, but it covers Sylmar, and it covers Sunland and some other, goes to Van Nuys and a number of these cities. I'm going to share the screen for a moment to see if I can bring up District 20, District 27 is basically Santa Clarita, Lancaster, Palmdale. Now, Lancaster, Palmdale is out here, and Santa Clarita is over here. It's near Hansen Dam and some other Pyramid Lake and so forth in through here, and that influences California District 27. But right in through here, 29, up in the corner, there is Hansen Dam, which is very well known in the San Fernando Valley area. It's a flood control dam, and the area in which it is located is highly prone to earthquakes. So this is an area that's always under careful watch as to what's going on in that area. I've spoken of Castaic Lake in the past, so I'm going to stop sharing on that. And then I'm going to do another share here on, this one is 23. Now, I thought I was going to find Lake Los Angeles in 29 somehow, but it's in 23. 28 is over more to the east, and it does not have very much in the way of water. 0.6% of its surface is water. And I'm waiting. I've actually made a call to the Congressional Representative's Office, Judy Chu, to see if I can get some background on how Congressional District 28 deals with the water issues and the atmospheric rivers that dump trillions of water all over LA and north of LA and out in the desert this past year, and it's doing it steadily now. So I'm waiting to hear back from Congresswoman Judy Chu's office. But in the meantime, I did discover, I should have known, but I did discover Lake Los Angeles. Lake Los Angeles is actually in Jay Hobernolt's district, District 23, but I did want to bring up about Lake Los Angeles. So I'm going to read some of this. Lake Los Angeles is in LA County. It's in CD23. Population was 12,328 people at the 2010 census, and it had gone up about 800 people from 2000. It is located 17 miles east of Palmdale Civic Center. So 27 includes Palmdale. But 17 miles east is, or not 17 miles east, but a little to the east of Palmdale. 17 miles, it is in District 23. According to the Greater Antelope Valley Economic Alliance report, and that area in through there at the base of the mountains and the edge of the desert east of Palmdale in District 23 is a big stretch of land called Antelope Valley. So the Economic Alliance report of 2009, Palmdale, Lancaster had a population of about 484,000. And Lake Los Angeles was part of that. Now, public transportation services are operated by the Antelope Valley Transit Authority. Should you wish to travel there, the Route 50 bus travels from Lake Los Angeles's Town Center Plaza to Owen Memorial Park in Lancaster. And there's also a route on Route 51. Each route runs about every 2 hours all week with a one-way fare of not very much. The region was once called Los Angeles Buttes, since they were the only ones in the northern part of the county. The eponymous lakes, this is interesting, I think. The eponymous lakes, one dedicated to fishing and one dedicated to swimming and boating, have dried up, they say, when they wrote this. The fishing lake was stocked with trout, bass, and catfish. In 1967, during the 60s land speculation boom in Antelope Valley, land developers bought 4,000 acres in the region, subdivided it into about 4,500 lots, and artificially refilled the natural lake and named it Lake Los Angeles as an enticement to land buyers. Advertisements showed a water skier on the lake, which was probably no more than 5 feet deep, and a showcase home on the top of a nearby hill, giving the impression of a resort. There was a country club and a high-end restaurant that overlooked the large recreational lake. Ideas. There was also a small store/bar and grill. Streets had names such as Big Lake Avenue, Lake Spring Avenue, and so forth, to draw attention away from the fact that the town was in fact a barren desert used for filming westerns. The lake was left to evaporate in the early 1980s. Of course it was, after the initial developers sold their interests. So I would interject at this point, there are land development schemes going on all over, including in California, including up near where I live, in the Sacramento Delta. And they promise everything. They have no intention of delivering. They might move a little earth, put up some shelter walls and structures that look like they're going to be something. They sell to somebody else who can't afford to do anything, and off they go with a lot of money. But that's the present story. Going back to the early 80s, much of the land was sold to who? To who? Buyers who never visited the area. Okay, there are efforts to refill the lake, but the main obstacle has been funding. Not anymore. Mother Nature is going to refill the lakes. That's what I say. Just watch. The film history of the region dates back to 1938. Just for history's sake, numerous movies, serials, commercials, and television series were filmed in Lake Los Angeles for decades, for many decades. Filmed segments and stock footage of bonanza episodes made at the region include The Mission, Gallagher's Sons, Twilight Town, Big Shadow on the Land, The Deed and the Dilemma, The Oath, Second Chance, and Mina. Lake Los Angeles has 2 permanent film sets, 4 acres, a replica mid-century style rest stop with a diner, gas station, and motel used in the films, and I haven't seen these films, Identity, Fall, and Palm Springs. And Club Ed, a more dilapidated early 20th century gas station and 2-story house, originally built for the 91 film Eye of the Storm. Excuse me. since used in The Devil's Rejects and Torque. Both locations and their surrounding areas have been used for television series, feature films, music videos, and television commercials. I'm going to pause for a moment while I swallow some water. Okay. Am I on? I hope so. I want to make sure. No, we just get rid of this. And we go back to this. I think I'm on. The population for Lake Los Angeles had been at 12,000. All but 29 people of the 12,299, or the 328, lived in non-institutionalized, lived in households. The remaining 29 individuals lived in non-institutionalized group quarters, and no one was institutionalized. That's what it said. They lived in some sort of gathering, probably a pronounced gathering. Sounds like there's a story to be told. According to the 2010 census, Lake Los Angeles had a median household income of $45,000. That was 13 years ago, with 27% living below the poverty line. Years before that, it says that Mexican and German were the most common ancestries, according to the 2000 census. Mexico and El Salvador were the most common foreign places of birth. And so this is part of California 23rd Congressional District, represented by Republican Jay Obernold. And I hope to bring you more information on Lake Los Angeles, because it seems like what I'm suggesting could be done out there was tried in the 1960s. I wasn't even in California then. I came in, I was born here and grew up here, but went away and came back in 1976. But some people went out there and floated an idea, called it Lake Los Angeles. But it's managed to survive as a backlot set for movies and in the media industry. Still and all, there's approximately 12,000 people living there. I would venture to guess that they work for the city, the county, the state, road crews, infrastructure, that sort of thing. That's where the income comes from. And then all of the Hispanic population, they might be working in those jobs, but they may also be, if there's any water to be dealt with, it doesn't say there's actually any water in Lake Los Angeles. But I would want to say there's agriculture for so many to be there. But this is what I'm talking about now. I say the water's coming back. I say it's filling the sinks and the dry lakes and the aquifers and the areas around the edges of the desert and farther in. And from Lake Los Angeles, 17 miles east of Palmdale, it's south of China Lake. I sort of think I know where it is. There's some old mining towns that have a little infrastructure left, nobody really living there, but they sort of do. They have a way of living. They might be in RVs or trailers. I think this time that they thought would happen back in the 60s, something along those lines may be happening in the near future. I would be looking at that because the water's coming. Now, things like Hansen Dam, which is a flood control dam in the far northeast corner of the San Fernando Valley, they have to watch it all the time because it has to release water all the time when there are big inundating rivers. When they have these super rivers that flow through and drop so much water all at once. And some of it can affect, now Hansen Dam is considered a stable dam. There are some other little dams there. There was something called the Van Horn Dam or something along those, Van Norman Dam. So what they moved that and made it part of Los Angeles reservoirs system, but it's constantly being watched. And that it should be watched by the population too, because as the waters pour down, especially on a populated greater area like Los Angeles, there are those hills. The waters hit the hills like Santa Monica Mountains, the San Gabriel Mountains, Santa Susana Mountains, the Santa Clarita Mountains, all that San Polona, I guess they call it, mountains. It falls and it's runoff. It becomes runoff of the hills, and then it forms its rivulets and so forth. If it can't be captured, it just goes where it goes, down in the flats where the people live. So it is behooving people to figure out, where do you want to live and how do you want to live in that area should the inundating rivers continue year after year after year. Scientists feel, as I've said in so many of these programs, that this is part of a much bigger global phenomenon of the melting ice caps. The people who didn't want to believe any of this would happen, if they're still alive, are seeing that it did happen. People who believed in it are vindicated. The people who refuse to believe are trying to find a way to say, well, I believe in it now. I mean, I can see it now. And some are saying, I still can't see it. What is all this water falling on my head? I don't know. Well, I mean, that's the way it is. But if you own property in the areas affected by this water deluge, you might want to give some thought as to how you want to see water management go and where you actually want to be living in relation to all of this. I think there will be water from Palmdale to Las Vegas. I don't mean constant huge lake, but I mean many of the dry lakes, which turned into sinks. The land sank because the aquifers were drained as well and fed over into the LA aqueduct, which ends somewhere near Castaic Lake, near Santa Clarita. When they drained the water for agriculture and over in the San Joaquin Valley, they lowered the land sank, the drainage dropped the land. So it's now a deeper sink. And when the waters, trillions of gallons of water fall, when they fill up the dry sinks that have been dropped down and are deeper than they were to begin with, that's a lot of water. And it will happen in the desert too. It's interesting to follow, I think. I'm going to pause again to see if there's something else. That was California District 23, and that is J.O. Reynolds. That's his district. Okay.